Hello YouTube and welcome to my walkthrough of the machine Irked on HackTheBox. I'm just going to kind of dive right into this one, show you how to get user and root. The machine hasn't actually been released yet. It's been released. It hasn't been decommissioned anyway. Decommission's in about 2.5 hours, so I figured I'd make the video now and release it once it gets pulled off. So, to start off, what you're going to want to do in this box, as always, is do an Nmap scan. Oops. Yeah, that one. Now, when you go ahead and you take a look at this machine, you're seeing three things, right? You're seeing, SSH open, you're seeing a web server, and you're seeing RPC bind. So if we actually go to the web server right now, go ahead and fire up Burp Suite, intercept this on, 117, you get this. IRC is almost working. Now, IRC is actually a kind of like an IM application, instant messaging, that gets installed on a server. So they probably have an IRC server installed here. And if we go ahead and, why did that not intercept? Okay, weird. Anyway, if we go ahead and we just capture a session to that web server, I'm just going to go ahead and be curious. Go to repeater. I'm wondering if it's doing any virtual host routing, so I'm going to set this to Irked instead of to the IP. But we get the same response, so whatever, it's not using virtual host routing. So there's clearly not a whole lot to poke at. If you poke at SSH and RPC, you're not going to find a whole lot. So it ends up what you actually need to do is you need to do a full scan using Nmap of the device. And what you'll end up finding is a few ports open running Unreal IRCD. That's clearly what they're talking about here. So I'm kind of interested. So if I do search exploit for Unreal IRC, sure enough, we get some remote code execution exploits of Unreal. I am kind of curious exploit TV, how this code works. Exploits Linux remote and then 16922.rb. But this is one of those situations where you're just. It's okay to be a script kiddie. Like, if the exploit works, it works. You can see it's old as hell, from 2010. And you could go through here and see, it's actually not that long of an exploit. Okay, see what it's actually doing to exploit. But we're just going to go ahead and give that a shot. So it looks like it's available in Metasploit. So I'm going to go ahead and actually fire up MSF console, which I've already done. And I'm going to search in here for Unreal IRC. Sure enough, we got what looks like the same exploit available. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, say use it. Show options, we have to set the R hosts to the IP address of the machine that we're, it's obviously running this, 10.10.10.117, I think it is, yes. And then the port is a little bit different, so it's actually running on a number of ports, but let's go ahead and shoot for 6697. Why is that hanging? Oh, weird. Okay. Okay, cool. So if we go ahead and rerun that, give it a second, it actually should give us a reverse shell. Well, that was easy, right? So what we can do is, let's see, pwd, let's go ahead and go to home, info lsl, DJ Mardov's user folder is set to be viewable by other users, which is pretty stupid on their part. So let's go ahead and go into their DJ Mardov, do an ls-l, oops, I left it there for my previous popping, pretend you didn't see that. Let's go into documents. In fact, what we could do at this point actually is we could do just find dot, and we'll give you basically a tree of everything that I have access to anyway. And so if we look under documents, there's a dot backup file. It's also user.txt, so let's go into documents. I doubt we're going to be able to read the user.txt. Yeah, sure enough, it's only readable and writable by the owner, which we are not. We are IRCD. So if we do an ls-la to show that hidden file, .backup, sure enough, there's something interesting in there. So let's go ahead and cat the contents of .backup. And we see something called Super Elite Steg Backup password. Now, Steg is referring to steganography, which is the art of hiding data within data. Usually, you might hide like text data inside an image or music or something, and it looks like it's a password. So this machine included a lot of guesswork for this bit, which I didn't really love. But if you start thinking like, okay, where can we use this steganography password? Well, there's an image right here, right? And if you poke around the box, this is really going to be the only image you find. So it leads you to think, okay, maybe they performed steganography on this image to put something in there. So sure enough, I actually downloaded the JPEG right here. If you go ahead and do, yeah, I don't want that. You see a lot of bytecodes and stuff. I mean, you see some clear text things, which is kind of interesting. I'm not an expert in steganography. Point is, what you can do is you can use the common tool called steghide. And what you do is you extract the image file. It'll ask you for that password. You enter the password you copied out. And sure enough, it pulls out a file called pass.txt from that image. So if we do cat pass.txt, that's presumably a password. So let's go ahead and try to log in to this machine with it. We can see we have a user called root. I'm just going to spoil it for you, let you know it's not the root user, it's actually DJ Mardov. So let's go ahead and SSH as DJ Mardov. I actually didn't need to spit out the Etsy password. I already figured out the username from the file system. So yeah, so let's just go ahead and SSH this guy at the machine. And we're in. So that was fairly straightforward as well. And now comes the actual enumeration piece. So you're going to do a lot of poking around. You might run your enumeration scripts, but I'll jump to the point and let you know that what's going to give you a result is running this right here. What this searches for is any files in the system that have the, I believe this is the SUID bit set, so it means that the file always runs, if it's an executable, always runs as the owner of the file rather than who invoked it. Certain executables on the Linux system do this legitimately, like the sudo command, or the sudo executable actually. No matter who you run sudo as, it actually executes as root. Which is okay because it's programmed properly so you can't exploit it. But if we go ahead and run that command, we'll see a number of files on the system that are owned by root with that bit set so that they actually execute as root always. And you're really going to have to look closely here because the one that sticks out is this one. It's under user bin, so you might look over it fairly easily, but it's actually a custom executable that the user put on this machine. And sure enough, it's readable by everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and see what that is. So if I run the file command on it, yeah, it's looking like a compiled executable. It's probably written in C. So I'm not going to be able to get a whole lot of usable information out of it if I try reading it. Yeah, it's machine code. So what you can do is you can actually copy it down to your system, which I already did, just to kind of save you some time. So if I go ahead and I try to run it just because I'm curious, and let's try to run it in here actually. It spits out actively logged in users. Still being actively developed. Okay, sure. So if I try running on my system, I actually copied it down here. If I do /view user, it spits out similar output, shows everyone who's actively logged into my system, except we get something really interesting, which is that /tmp/list users is not found. It's trying to invoke that with sh. So this executable is actually trying to launch a shell script. And remember, it's running as a root because it has the SUID bit set. So if I go ahead and I open up the file on this machine that the executable is trying to point to, sure enough, that's what the view user command is actually invoking. It's a shell script. So we can abuse this. Let's go ahead and see if we can get remote code execution, which we're going to be able to do, hands down. So let's go ahead and exit out of that. I'm going to do TCP dump interface ton0 for ICMP traffic. We're just going to see if we can get the system to ping me. So I'm going to say ping 10.10.14.165, which is my machine's IP, of course. A count of 4, so it doesn't do it indefinitely, because that would be annoying. And now we're actually going to run the command here. And sure enough, it's obeying our command that we put in that shell script, which is pretty cool. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and have it fire up a reverse shell. So I'm going to make sure I don't have them running right now. I'm going to say, open up netcat, listen on port 1337 naturally. Now what we need to do is actually need to get a script on here. So let's go ahead and pretend you didn't see that. And then what you can do is you can download a script from here. It's a Perl reverse shell. It's pretty sweet. It's super simple to use and gives you a fairly clean shell back. So you can actually download the tar.gz to your Linux machine as I did here. I guess I deleted it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and download that again. If I can open the tab. Okay, I'm very confused. Give me 1 second. I'm not confused, I just goofed up. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the link location to that tar.gz. I'm going to go ahead and download to my machine. Export that. And here we have the magic. So let's go ahead and take this reverse shell that I downloaded. And all you have to do is just pop in your IP and your port in here. So let's say 10.10.15. Oh, geez, what was I? 15? I forgot. ifconfig. 14.165. Okay, 14.165. Gonna tell it to connect to that port. Now all we gotta do is copy it to our hacked machine. So let's go ahead and wget. Except first, what I need to do is I need to start the simple HTTP server on this machine here. So if I go ahead and I say Python, and I say go back through directories and run this simple HTTP server.py that I have. It just starts up an HTTP server, so I can just go ahead and say wget http:// the IP address of my machine, which again is 14.165, if I can remember anything. It's running on port 8000, and we're going to tell it to download the name of this file here. Oh, I cleared it. What is it called? Perl reverse shell.pl, I think it is. Nope. What? I goofed up. Okay. Perl. Forgot what I called it. Here we go. That's the name of the file. Okay. Perl reverse shell.pl. Cool. Alright. So sure enough, I have the reverse shell file downloaded onto this remote system. All I need to do is start my listener, which I already did. We're going to go ahead and we're going to edit that file again. Which, remember, this is a file that the custom-coded executable runs. So we're just going to tell it to run Perl and open up the file home/djmardov/Perl reverse shell.pl. Oop. I goofed up. There we go. Okay, and so if I go ahead and I run that SUID executable again, sure enough, it gives me a reverse shell. If I say, who am I? I am root, because again, the executable ran as root, because the SUID bit tells it to always run as its owner. So, that's pretty much the box. I got a root shell now, so I can go ahead and cat/root/root.txt. Oh, and I forgot, you can also, of course, in here we could also, cat user.txt, depending on where I am. Yeah. Cat, under documents. Could have done that like 10 minutes ago, but anyway. So there you have it, that's the box. We went ahead and rooted it, and we have full control. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Got any feedback, questions, whatever, feel free to go ahead and post a comment, or like and subscribe, of course, that'd be pretty cool too. I'll be sure to reply to any comments, I'm usually pretty good about that. So, yeah, thank you for watching.